Hello everyone, this is Brian Davis from the YouTube channel youtube.com/spacebound-pokervids. I wanted to go over a session that I played a couple of days ago. I had kind of an interesting run over the last week. I opened up an old Bovada account that I haven't looked at in some time and saw that I had $1.78 left in it. Played a couple of cash games, built up a little bit of money. I got it up to, I don't know, $12, $13. Played a dollar tournament. 45 players, took first in that for the whopping prize of $14. Segued from that to a couple of $5 double ups. Won both of those, played another, lost that, then played this $3 tournament that I'll be talking about today that I took third out of, I think, 293 people for I believe, $98 win. So I'm up to like $127 now, starting at $1.78. So anyway, been kind of an interesting run. Didn't expect it to go that way. Don't expect it to continue that way. So don't think this is a normal thing. I'm very clear that this is just a heater, but I'm going to enjoy it while I can. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the final table, which is what I have right here. Actually, I think I'm going to resize the video here. Stand by. Alright, had to pause there for a moment so I could resize the video. So I'm just recording the actual game and you're not just seeing a bunch of blank space, taking up bandwidth and slowing down the video. So the program that I'm using to record is called screencast-o-matic. So it just popped up down there in the corner when I moused over it. There's a free version. There's also a paid version. I do have the paid version just to get rid of the watermarks and all. But if it's something that you think you can use, I'll have a link in the little description box down below. I don't remember if that's an affiliate link or not. It doesn't really matter. In any case, it's a great program for recording on screen. I know there are a couple other programs out there, but this is the one that I've had a good success with. Aside from that, you'll notice all these indicators on here. If you played on Bovada, you are aware that, as you can see, everything is anonymous. I've got a program called Tournament Indicator and another one called Hold'em Indicator, and I'll put the links for both of those in the bottom as well if you have any interest in them. It allows you to get stats throughout the game. You can see the number of hands. We've got 47 hands on this player, 46 over here. A lot of these, this is the first time I've seen them, is when we got to the final table. But even though it's anonymous, it still gives you some stats on the people you're up against. And I've got a couple other programs that I'm using, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with the actual game instead of rambling. So 6-5 offsuit there, pretty early position. You can see I'm fairly short stacked. I've got a couple of blinds. Okay, I'll pause here for just a second just to look at the numbers. Okay, so yeah, 330 buy-in, 500 guaranteed, turbo, 2.5 hours in, yes, 293 players. I am darn near the bottom stack, so yeah, I'm pretty short stacked. Blinds are at, where are my blinds? 3,500, 7,000. So around 6 big blinds. Not too terrible. And a great place to basically pick a hand and push with it. I was just showing there that what the pay bands were like. I think the lowest was like $11 or $6, something like that. Anyway, 7-10, easy fold. 10-7 off, however you want to state that. Like I said, with a stack size like this, you're putting all your chips in. Really, anything less than about 100,000, I'm putting all my chips in, and that's just the way I play. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Little. Easy fold there. He has won at least one WPT event first place. Multi-millionaire in poker, has done incredible things. I've invested in, and I say invested in because it really has paid off. I've invested in a couple of his coaching programs, bought all 3 of his books on Tournament Hold'em, try to learn from them. I haven't really studied them as well as I should. I'd probably play a little bit better, and I wouldn't have come to the table as the next to the smallest stack. But sometimes that's just going to happen. You can play the very best and still lose. You can play the very worst and still win. as much as we want to say poker is a skill game, and it is a skill game, but at the same time it's not a skill game, as I sit here and contradict myself. The simple fact is there's still luck involved. Now here, I don't mind this hand. If it were a different situation, if I were, say, in the small blind and it went to the big blind, see, I'm looking here to see what he's likely to do. Pushed over early position, bait limp. He's shown me. Unfortunately, I can't see it again without going back, but I feel like it's okay. Doesn't matter because he folded. I gotta walk. This has been a few days ago, so I don't remember exactly what happened. So it's not entirely scripted, and I remember how it ended, but this hand right here, I would have absolutely pushed with, but since he opened, I don't really think that I can. There's just no way he's ever folding. He's early position. Ace 9 off. It's, it's an ace, but ace 10 and above, I'm hosed. Really any pair. So I'm looking to get the initiative. Now deuce 3, terrible hand, almost as bad as it can get. But I think I remember this hand. I'm going to pause it for a second. If he folds, if 160 here folds, then I've got 45,000. I can push, and either one of these people here know that if they call, then they'd better call with something good, or they are putting themselves at risk, basically, of getting crippled. He's tight. I can see over 52 hands, 19%. Not going to be calling off real light. He's got a comfortable stack. There's no reason to get crazy. And he would just be straight crippled. I really don't have any stats on him. The last 5 hands, he hasn't played a single one. In any case, right here, I'm pushing pretty much any 2 cards. And I believe that is what I did here. He's been fairly loose, but this is, like I said, just kind of got to push any 2 here. Hope for the best. He folds as expected. He calls, which I didn't expect. I do, however, like his call. I think it was a fantastic call. Absolutely the right thing to do. However, he's pretty much crippled now, and I get a new lease on life. So I think that was the first, maybe the second hand in the entire game that I got all in not as a favorite. I really did play pretty well in this game to get to this point. I had a couple of times to where I had the best hand and just got totally sucked out on. But again, that's going to happen. If you're staying pretty aggressive throughout the game, you're going to have some chips, and you're going to be able to afford a few of those all-in confrontations. Now, I don't care what kind of chip stack you have. If you lose a couple of all-in confrontations with fairly close proximity to one another, you're going to bust out. That's all there is to it. I don't care if you've got aces every hand. Every now and then you're going to just lose a game. That's the nature. What is it like? 20% against, 80% to win with aces against 2s. So there's a nice little chop there. I'm not entirely fond of his push. Yeah, he's in the blinds. He could have knocked him out. Ace 3 offsuit. He knows he's going to hop in with a lot of stuff, so I'm not super fond of that, but whatever. It's an easy fold there. So, like I said about this tournament indicator, let me see if pull it up while some other things are going. Yes. Allow to make changes to my computer. So this is tournament indicator. Slide this out of the way. What you're seeing up there over each one, those are just the heads up indicators. And you can actually tell it what you want to show in the heads up. Well, we're waiting for pretty much nothing to happen down there. Enable HUD, hide main window. That's what I do. This is the main window. This is the HUD. Jack 7, easy fold. But you can pick which stats you want to display. Your M zone, like the Dan Harrington's M zone, big blinds, number of hands. I like to have that so I know if my stats are any good. Aggression factor. Ooh, we had a shove from the little guy. He knows he's getting called. King Jack, fair enough, I guess. Worked out for him. He knows he's getting called regardless. I don't know. I don't fault him. King 8. Early position, I'm folding. Late position, probably just going to shove it all in. But when he opens, I'm just automatically gone. If I was late position and he opened like that, say I'm on the button and he's in the cutoff, then I might flat from the button. I don't know if that's correct, but that's just probably what I'm going to do. Let's see if I can get back over here and see this hand through. He pushes. I expect him to fold. So, I mean, look at his stats. Over 10 hands, he's played 1. I mean, it's only 10 hands. It's not like, it's not great intel by any stretch. I really want to see like 30 hands or more before I feel good about my intel, and 30 is really not that much. The more hands you have on someone, the better. Unfortunately, because of the anonymous nature of Bovada, you're just not ever going to get a very large sample size on any particular player. Now, on the flip side of that, it's one of my favorite reasons to play a Bovada, because your sharks aren't here. At least if they are, there aren't nearly as many and they're hungrier. Because people like that, they really have to rely on playing a lot of tables and not really watching any one of them all that closely. So they can just depend on their stats and their massive sample sizes and their purchased hand histories. And in a place like I was actually considering calling there just to see a flop, but as soon as he shoves, I'm out. I'm gone. Now that said, looking at his stats, I don't even like a call there. I just got too much of my stack committed at that point. That's an easy fold, especially after they saw me push with 3 deuce offsuit. Once somebody sees you, or the table sees you push with just a garbage hand, it's prudent, I feel, to be a little tighter, especially if you've got some chips to play with at this point. And I do. I'm not sitting pretty, but I'm not starving either. There are definitely a few stacks that are going to statistically bust out before I do. And whenever you have that raise, it's just an obvious get out. So again, even though I'm on the button, if it folded to me, I would have folded anyway because of my recent shenanigans. I'm just likely to get called a lot lighter. And with stacks like this, terrible bet sizing. Why did I put that? I'm going to rewind this just a short bit. See if there's a way to do that without going way back. Here we go. I'm going to back it up just a few seconds because I want to see why I said terrible bet sizing. Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. So right here, 4 times the big blind, that's kind of huge because, I mean, you're really only getting called with hands that dominate you. There's just no reason for that. I like, 2.5, 3 at the very, very, very most. I'm really not even fond of that. I like to keep the bet size around the size of the pot at max. So, with his 35 in, yeah, whatever it was, I'm not going to sit here and waste time. Sure, you have better things to do than listen to me ramble. So let's move on. So take my note. As you move from table to table, any notes you save, right here, this guy's very, very tight. And so when he pushes, I put my money that he's got a better hand than he does. What do you know? So by putting that big bet, he's hoping to keep anybody from hopping in there. I mean, it's like he's pushing them out. With fives, well, I don't know. I mean, now that I think about it, early position, if you go in light, somebody pushes over you, then you're calling. If you go in too big, I still don't really like it big. I kind of like keeping my bet sizes around the same all the time. You know, I don't want to give any indication to my opponents as to the strength of my hand by varying my bet size. So the randomness of the cards is going to keep it unpredictable, if you want to think of it that way. I like this more. 21.5. I might go 22.5 to 25, somewhere in there. See, what is a pot right now? 9 plus 15, 24. Oh, that was just all kinds of gross. I think I was considering shoving over at that point. Just because of this guy. He's been so, I don't know. He's been pretty loose just with his hands. I just had a bad taste from the guy at this point in the game. Now, I say guy about everyone. Don't mean to be offensive, but I don't know. That's just what I say. If you're a female and a great player, my apologies. Just don't come take my money. Now that bet size right there, I'm going to pause here for a second because I really don't remember what he has at all. So the min raise, that to me looks like he's trying to incite a bluff. I mean, I'm looking at his stats, 18 hands, 22%, not super tight at all. I mean, he's not a nit by any stretch. But I think he's got something that he feels fine calling him, but he'd fold if he pushed. That's what I'm expecting. So I see him snap calling here. So I'm thinking an ace or a pair. An ace, I'm going to say 8 or better suited, or a pair, 7s are better. 8s are better. Say 8s are better. And just as I hit the, or intend to hit the play button on the video, I hit the pause button on the recording. So anyway, moving on. So he snap calls. So his ace is actually a little bit lower than I expected. So in this case, even though he had the better hand, he lost. So maybe something a little bit bigger, but it had the right effect. He got this person here to hop in, much the dog, and I would like to pull up the numbers to see how much the dog. See, that's a huge bet size. That's too big, and then he folds it. So like I said earlier, bad bet sizing. He still has bad bet sizing. You put in, a third of your stack, and then fold. That's ridiculous. I don't care what you have. You kind of have to call, especially after somebody just did something like that. And now he's probably just steaming, and he's going to get called off really light. And I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting for the fur to finish flying. So in 3 hands, he goes from having a good sized stack and a pretty tight game to being out. And he has luck boxed his way into being the chip leader. That's poker, folks. Meanwhile, I've sat down here, not really played much of anything, and moved up 3 pay bands. So can't complain. Not a bad day whenever you get paid more to do nothing. Nonetheless, I don't come to any tournament with the idea of, all right, I'm going to shove here. I see shoving here. Yeah. Especially since he's tried to steal 80% of the time. Come on. 4 out of 5 times it folds to him, he tries to steal. Calling off with that, pretty terrible. Especially since I've been pretty tight. I mean, really very tight. But hey, I'm okay with that. Donate to my stack anytime. I don't mind. Not a bad hand. I don't know why I didn't open there. Probably because this guy's so loose. It wouldn't have been a bad place to open for like 25k. But then I'm putting in like 20% of my stack. But you kind of got to just keep picking up blinds. I think I was in survival mode. I'd been playing pretty tight throughout the entire tournament. I mean, across 133 hands, 17%. What is that? I'm just curious, as if it actually matters. 0.2%. So a whole 21 hands. So 113 hands. I just sat there and did nothing. Wow. It's really a game of patience to get through a multi-table tournament. Yeah, this guy's just freaking harassing me the whole time. I remember I stalled here just to kind of make him think a little bit about just pushing on me. There's no way I'm calling with that, but he doesn't know that. So by kind of stalling for a little bit, make it look like I'm thinking about calling him, like, hey, I'm getting fed up, I'm going to call you, then he might not be as likely. That's my logic there. But I don't want him getting the idea that he can just push and I fold, push and I fold. But obviously he didn't get the message, so here he's going to pay for it. I'm pretty much cheering at this point. See ya, sucker. You look at the stats of the people who are surviving. I'm here 16%. He's here 20%, 11%, 18%. I mean, you've got this anomaly, but how did he get his chips? By luck boxing. You know, that's it. It's a fine call. I liked his push. I liked his call. I'm not sure why he sat out. Again, I'm kind of just, at this point, I should have gotten a little more aggressive. I don't want to get aggressive with him in the big blind, especially whenever it was a dead small, or a big blind alone, whatever you want to call that. There's just not that many chips out there to try to steal. So I'm looking at the blinds, and 6,000, 12,000. So the kind of thing I look at is, okay, so a big blind plus 2/3 of the small blinds. So 2/3 of small blinds, 4,000 plus the 12,000, so 16,000. 10 times that is what I'm pushing with. So anything less than 160,000, and I'm pushing at this point. If I'm opening, then I'm pushing at this point. And I'm gonna get pretty loose with my pushes. Pretty much any ace, any king, any 2/10, some suited connectors, like your higher suited connectors, 7, 8, 8, 9. I'm counting on folds as much as I'm counting on the strength of my hand. And, any two random cards are going to be like 60-40. You're not in a terrible spot, as you've seen multiple times. He's just dominating with this stack now. This looks like a milk bet. He's just trying to get him to call. And he paid him off. Again, look at his stats. The guy's not an idiot. Oop. Go away, date and time. There it goes. So apparently it is 10:49 p.m. on June 24th. So what you're seeing here, this video is actually a screencast-o-matic a bunch of other videos, recording of the screen when I played, and now I am recording the recording while doing the voiceover. This is my first actual voiceover, so hopefully I'll improve as I do more of these videos. Yeah, if I had just been very, very patient, might have been able to outlast this guy. He's just being so crazy. You put out, what is that, 5 big blinds? You fold here, you just threw away a solid quarter of your stack. That's a really expensive steal. Alright, so right here I think is where I pushed, yeah. Now, that's not within what I said earlier, but I feel like it's ahead of most of what he's got. And again, the times that they fold, you're picking up a good size pot there. How many? 22,800. So, you know, I just increased my stack by like 20%. I think that push there was more of I recognized that I was getting low and I needed to make a move. And it was just a good spot because he was weak and I had been tight, so he needed something bigger to call. I don't know why I was thinking I didn't. I knew I made it to the final 3. I don't know. It's late. Been up since 5:30. Okay, so right here, let me pause this before anything else happens. Back up just a smidge. I want to talk about this hand a little bit. Okay, so see, he opens. Okay, so min raise. Could be a still, could be a bait. With the min raise, you know, tight-ish player, not crazy, but we're short, very short stacked. It's a 50-50 really. It could be either one. In any case, I've got a hand that if I can see a flop, then I can go from there. If I hit the flop hard, I continue. If I don't, then I can fold. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people would argue and say, no, you've got too many chips in, you got to go. Okay, so I don't know. I might be wrong, might be right. In any case, so I see the flop here. And okay, so I have 4 to a flush. Unless he's got the ace or the king high flush draw, then my play is to push. You know, I'm risking 90 to win 140,000, 147,000, almost 150,000. So, you know, I'm getting better. I'm getting good odds. I'm not going to try to do the math right now. I'm getting pretty good odds. And unless he has a king, he's not calling. So that's why I push here. Now, unfortunately, he has the king. So, of course, I'm praying for a spade to hit. It doesn't, and I go out in third. So that's pretty much how that all went down. All in all, you know, $3.30 game for me. I haven't really played much lately. Work's gotten busy, taking some graduate class stuff. Yeah, so just haven't really had a lot of time to play. Just kind of wanted to get a game in. So 2.5 hours, $98, not a bad deal. So yeah, that was the game. If you have any comments or feedback or whatever, funny jokes, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I do interact with people, so if you leave me something, I'll be sure to respond. I will get those links into the description box for the Bovada hand converter. If you play on Bovada and you're serious about your game, you kind of got to get it. What it does, and actually I'll show that really quickly because I do have a game that I need to get converted. So you go into Bovada, into your settings. If you don't know this part, let me go ahead and show that. Nope, sorry, not settings. Take that back. Okay, account. Hand history. So go to hand history. Come on. Let's go. You can do it. All right, so game transactions. And you go to see in the last 3 days how many games have I played of any type. No ring games, no set and goes, and no scheduled tournaments. Okay, 7 days. See, I haven't played in a while. I just really haven't had that much time to play. All right, so here's the game. It wouldn't say open hand history. It would say download file, but I've already hit that. So now the hand history has been downloaded. So at this point, I've downloaded the file. So I can minimize this. I come back over here, I hit convert folder, and it is going to convert everything in the folder. Just go with the default folder. It's the right one. It's going to find the files. It is going to process the files, and it is going to move them into a different folder. Complete. Huzzah. Close that. Close that. Open Poker Tracker. And I think okay, I've done some moving things around on my computer. I'm going to have to do that later. So if you've used Poker Tracker, or if you use Poker Tracker, you can actually import your Bovada hands into your Poker Tracker and keep all the same stats and do all the same analysis and all the same ICM modeling, just as though you would on any other site. I know it's a lot of different programs whenever you could go play at, say, Carbon Poker and just import them directly. But Bovada, again, the games are so soft, and if you actually like to get paid for the games that you win, I highly suggest Bovada. They've been incredibly faithful to getting me paid within like less than 2 weeks. Always less than 2 weeks, usually around 1 week. Compared to Carbon, I haven't had that kind of luck. So that's why I like Bovada, one of the many, many reasons. But I'll put links for all this stuff in the comments below. Again, thanks for watching, and have a great night. Bye-bye.